Christmas theme before we finish today?
Yes. I don't see any more for this construction. If you see me sneak back around, it's because I see somebody pop up on the computer. So I will move now. Remember to go on to that microphone. Yes.
Do you want to get started?
Yes.
Okay. All right, wonderful. Welcome, everyone. It is such a delight to be here today with Daniel Williams, 15-year-old author who reached out to us about his work. And as someone who started writing at a young age myself, I love supporting young authors. Some of you may know that the name of the bookstore comes from a little book I wrote when I was 8 years old. The Secret World was inspired by Frances Hutchins Burnett's The Secret Garden. And when we saw that the store had a secret garden attached to it, we decided to name the store Secret World Books to honor the book that I wrote when I was 8 years old, but also to honor the fact that every book has a secret world inside of it. Each person has a secret world inside of us. And it was wild after Daniel reached out and I looked up his work to see that one of his books is called The Secret Society of Writers, because our membership club is called the Secret Society. So there are all these little fun intersections. And it's just such a joy to be able to celebrate this young author and his work. I'm going to read a little bit of his bio, and then Daniel will read a bit from his Christmas novella, and then we will discuss his process. Right, so Daniel Williams is a promising young author who discovered his passion for storytelling at an early age. Born in a small town, Daniel spent his childhood days exploring the wonders of nature and letting his imagination run wild. His love for books and writing was evident from the moment he could hold a pencil, often scribbling down stories and ideas in his notebooks. I can very much relate. At just 15 years old, Daniel's creativity and determination have led him to publish many books. Inspired by, and we have 7 of your books here? 8 of your books here. Oh my goodness. Yes. Inspired by the adventures he dreamed up in his mind and the characters he met along the way, his writing captures the essence of youthful wonder and the boundless possibilities of imagination. Daniel's stories often reflect the values he holds dear: friendship, bravery, and the importance of believing in oneself. When he's not writing, Daniel enjoys spending time with his loyal dog, Lucky, exploring the great outdoors, and spending time with his friends. He finds joy in the simple things in life and draws inspiration from his everyday experiences. With a bright future ahead, Daniel continues to nurture his talent, eager to share his stories with readers around the world. And I want to acknowledge his family, because I know that you wouldn't be here today without a supportive family as well. And it's always wonderful to see a family supporting their creative young person. So welcome everyone, and welcome Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to share something from my Christmas novella, The Snowflake Kiss, a story about love, home, and magic. So I'm reading from the middle of chapter 2, starting at page 15. Just as I round the last bend before town, the car sputters. A strange clinking noise comes from the engine, followed by a loud call. The dashboard lights up like a Christmas tree, and the car coasts to a stop on the side of the road. Great, I mutter, banging my hand on the steering wheel. Merry Christmas to me. I climb out of the car, the bitter wind biting at my face as I pull my coat tighter around me. Snowflakes cling to my hair and lashes as I pop the hood, staring blankly at the maze of metal and wires. I know nothing about engines. For all I can tell, the car might as well be a spaceship. I'm fumbling with my phone, trying to look up the number for a tow truck, when I hear the sound of an engine approaching. A flatbed truck slows to a stop behind me, its hazard lights flashing. The driver steps out, his boots crunching against the snow. Need some help? I look up, squinting against the glare of the headlights. The man is tall, broad shoulders, and a beanie pulled over his low white hair. His face is shadowed, but there's something familiar around his voice. and about him, something that makes my breath catch in the throat. Jake, I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. He steps closer, and the light catches his face. It's him. His features are sharper, more defined than I remember, but his eyes are the same steady and one, with a spark of mischief that hasn't changed a bit. Emma, he says, his lips quirking with a small surprised smile. Didn't think I'd see you here, he says. Yeah, well, I say, gesturing with the car. It wasn't exactly in the plan. He chuckles, the sound low and familiar. What happened? No idea, it just stopped. Jake leaned over the engine, his breath visible when he pulled it. Looks like your alternator shot. I can tell you into town and get you fixed up like the shot. Thanks, I say, feeling a mix of relief and embarrassment of all the people to rescue me on the side of the road. It had to be Jake. That's it.
Oh,
Sorry. Can you tell us more about this book?
So the book is the first Christmas novella I wrote. It is a romance. I'm gonna read a little bit off the back because I don't memorize anything about my books really. It's hard when I'm writing 30 currently simultaneously.
Oh my
So
goodness.
um sometimes coming home is the start of something new. Emma White has built a carefully ordered life in Chicago. Late nights at the office, coffee fueled deadlines, and no time for Christmas cheer. When a call from her mother pulls her back to Noella Heights for the holidays, Emma is forced to face everything she left behind, including Jake, the boy who once held her heart.
Oh, thank
So that's the
you.
premise of the story, and Jake, of course, is the one who works the town mechanic shop, and he's the one to tell her.
We just it wasn't a romance, but we just experienced being towed. Our car broke down when we were visiting on the way to visit my family for Thanksgiving. Um, but I could write about it because I had to sit on my husband's lap inside the tow truck because there weren't enough seats for everyone. And we put my hood over his head so people wouldn't be able to see it. That's my recent tow truck story. So you're working on 30 books at once.
Yes.
I tend to juggle projects, but I would say usually no more than three at a time. And I'm curious to know how you juggle all these projects.
So some of them are in different stages. All of them are in different stages. I have three I'm drafting currently. And like I'll work on different ones at different times, and some of them are on hold just for a short few days. Some of them are on hold for longer, and then some are in editing, and some are just waiting to be published at the right time.
Very cool. Which one was your first book?
Secret Society of Writers.
Awesome. Awesome. And what made you want to go ahead and publish?
Just I really liked writing, and that seemed like the next logical step because I wanted to do it for a career, and I didn't want to be in journalism. I learned that very early. So I'm like, I might as well publish now and see what I can do and get myself out there now before I really depend on it.
Very cool. Can you tell us about Secret Society of Writers?
So it is a book where two teenagers stumble upon this old abandoned library with the secret society of writers, and they both join a society. And the premise is the leader of the society is corrupt and is using society for evil.
Oh, don't worry, we're not using our secret society.
well, here.
Oh, fun. So it seems like you write in a variety of genres,
Yes.
and I'm curious if you have a favorite genre or
Romance is my favorite because it's easy, the structure simple, and like I always enjoy an HEA happily ever after, and like I always have to write it, otherwise it's not a romance novel. So that's one of the reasons I like romance the most.
fun. We had two 11-year-olds who wrote a book together here pretty recently, and it's set in happily ever after land. It's a fantasy, and I love that. Yeah, that's a phrase that you just used as well. Um, why do you think people read? Is it for that hope of happily ever after?
Usually, yes. Um, and it also is because the world is crappy right now, all over the place. And you want to be in a world that's more perfect. So that's why you read books. That's my opinion, at least.
Definitely. Um, are there any authors who you see as role models or special inspiration for you?
I really like Gertrude Chandler Warner and the Black Show. That was like the first few books I read. I read most of the series actually. In my genre, I don't have a favorite author. Like in the genres I read, I don't have a favorite author. I will just pick up like, okay, I'm going to the library. I need to read this genre right now to then affect what I'm writing currently in that genre. But I don't have a favorite author in romance. Like I will read any romance author or any author.
Nice. And are you, do you know the term plotter or pantser?
I'm a plotter.
Okay.
It is the opposite of my lifestyle, but if I do not plot, then I lose all my creative thought. And like people say plotting restricts creativity. For me, if I don't plot, then I just get writer's block automatically and it's not fun to deal with.
Yeah, and I think it's so important for writers to find the process that works best for them because I'm very much a pantser. If you don't know that phrase, a plotter is someone who likes to outline, to plan, and a pantser is someone who kind of just flies by the seat of their pants, doesn't know where the work is going, and just follows the writing wherever it will go. And I teach writing as well, and I love when writers find whatever process works best for them, whether it's meticulous plotting or just wildly going into the dark with the book. So it's wonderful that you've found what works for you. Um, do you find that your work veers from its outline at all, or do you pretty much
All the
stay
time.
close to it?
All the time it veers. And like sometimes I will find myself screaming at my laptop, like, you're supposed to be doing this right now. Why aren't you? It veers from the outline all the time, and I'm just re-outlining and like because if I don't have that structure, then it has horrible pacing, and it just is a really trashy book in the end. And that's like, and it would be great with editing, but like I don't want to have to go through 50 drafts if I can only go through 25.
Yeah, so what is your editing process?
So typically I will print it out for proofreading and grammar checks, and I will, read it out loud for readability. I use Grammarly and AI sometimes to like run through and catch stuff because they're Grammarly and spell check are great. They don't catch everything though, and like AI will correct it. Um, and then I will also have a teacher or someone or a grandparent sometimes read through and give me feedback on the plot and stuff.
That's wonderful. You mentioned teachers, and I know that as a young writer, the support of my teachers was very important. It was a teacher who took my little book, The Secret World, and put it in the school library where I had a little card and a card catalog, which you probably haven't even seen a card catalog because they don't exist very much anymore. But I'm so grateful for the teachers as well as family who have been supportive. Are there any special teachers who have been particularly influential for you?
Not really. They've all been helpful in their own ways. My fourth grade teacher is the one who got me to like writing as a lot. Um, my freshman year's teacher, English teacher, she helped me realize that I need to be more careful when I'm outlining and that I need to outline because if I don't, then it becomes a really trashy book. And like I need to re-outline once my book veers in a different direction. Um, and my middle school English teachers were all great. They comma rules, comma rules, comma rules. That's what I learned from them. And my current English teacher, she is on me about starting a creative writing club at high school. So she's helping me find an outlet for my writing at school.
That's great.
That's not when I'm writing when I should be listening to the lecture.
Ah. And do you have friends who write also?
I don't have a lot of friends, and the friends that I do have aren't big writers or readers. I trying to network and expand my writing and reading community because that's very important.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that starting a club is a wonderful idea because writing, one thing I love about writing and also find frustrating with writing is how solitary it is because I tend to be an introvert and so I'm very comfortable with just sitting alone and writing, but it can feel lonely. And so finding a community where you can not feel alone in the process is really a lovely experience. So I hope that you'll be able to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any special process you use when you outline?
So I do about 15 outlines for the book. I will do a character profile for each character, which is like just the physical appearance, what their job and like how they live their life is written down. I will do a 3x structure outline. I will do a timeline outline, and I will do a chapter by chapter outline where I give 2, 3 bullet points for each chapter, what will happen. And then I do another outline where I put that chapter by chapter outline and 3 act structure outline together so that I have kind of an idea of how everything will flow in 3 acts.
Very cool. I'm curious to know what your hopes and dreams are as an author.
I'm hoping to like, make it big, but that's what every author says, right? I really want to write all the time when I'm out of high school and travel because traveling and seeing the world is the best way to write.
Mhm, mhm. I know that I've learned something new about writing and about being a person from each book I've written. And I'm curious to know what you've learned from writing your books.
Um, I've learned that writing is something that you love and hate at the same time,
Ah,
from all my books, but I learn a lot about what my life is like or what I'd like it to be like based off of the world I'm creating. For example, like if I'm writing a great romance novel, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably writing this because I'm lacking that in my life. Or if I'm writing a great, fantasy like the Secret Society of Writers, I'm like, I wish for adventure, it like kind of reflects what I'm longing for at that moment. Like it helps me realize.
yeah, that's beautiful. Do you have a favorite of your books?
Not really. Like it's hard to pick because I like them all equally.
Mhm. And I think the main character you said in this book is a woman.
Yes.
And I'm curious to know what it's like for you to write about someone who is different from yourself.
So it's great to do that because like you have a chance to put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's also hard though because like you have to know like their thoughts almost, and that's where research comes in. Research, like habits and trends and people at the time of taking place, especially when writing from a woman's perspective.
How do you do your research?
I use AI mostly. I will use Copilot to ask a bunch of questions about like what my character should be like based on the time, based on the setting and like what their thoughts and behaviors would be. And that's how like I do that part. The other parts for research, like settings, is just like simply Googling how far is it from New York to like nowhere in Vermont.
Uh-huh.
Like stuff like that is like, and I do that halfway through, not the most of the time.
I would love to open up questions to the audience if anyone has questions for Daniel. I can't be the last. Yeah, so impressive. What age did you start writing?
9, I started writing around 13, 12. I started writing seriously, and 14 is when I published my first book. And then 3 followed shortly after.
Yeah, wow. And then so how you get an idea for a book?
How I get the ideas, often real life.
What happened, Joshua?
It, the slide button. I will get ideas from real life a lot, like certain situations that I see at school, certain situations that I see in the world. And then I just let it sit for a little bit, um, in my head. But then when I have enough, when it develops fully, that's when I'll start writing it and outlining it. But ideas really come from everywhere, from books, from real life. It's really hard to say I have one source of inspiration and that's the one source.
Yeah, so when you start writing a book, excuse me, but so you know the end, and then you just
I know the beginning usually, like how it's gonna start in the middle. The end is usually what is the trickiest part for me, actually, because a lot of people say the easiest part is the end and beginning to figure out. And for me, it's the beginning and middle because like I know what I want the drama to be of the book. I know how I want to start the book, but how I want to finish the book is actually usually what I change the most. So
as you're writing surprised you in, 'cause I find that that's one of my favorite parts of the writing process is when my writing surprises me. And you touched upon that a little bit when you talked about how your writing veers from the outline. But I wonder if it's ever surprised you in a delightful way.
Whenever it veers from the outline, it's surprising me in the light way, to be honest, he's like, this is so much better than the outline, you know. I'm working on a romance novel currently where I'm drafting it and I outlined it. I'm like, this is way too fast. This is way too fast paced. I need to slow things down. And like the book was already doing that before I even realized it. So it's always a delightful surprise.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
There you go. Back up.
Other
What are you reading? So because did you say that you like to read a genre?
I love to read all books. Right now I'm reading a Christmas novel. It's called gosh, I'm blanking on the name. It's Catherine Spencer is the author. I'm reading it's a Christmas romance. Actually, I can't think of the name. But that's what I'm reading currently. And then I did a long TBR list of books that I'm gonna read outlining my next novel, hopefully.
Wonderful. Any other questions from the audience? Are there any questions that you were hoping that we would ask that we haven't asked?
No. You guys have covered basically everything I could guess, to be honest.
This has been such a delight to chat with you, Daniel. Thank you so much for approaching us and sharing your work. I wish you the very best for a long, successful career. I feel really lucky that we get to be part of the start of it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you everyone for coming. Let's give Daniel a round of applause. We have several titles here available for purchase, along with some bookmarks that you can get with purchase. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was fun.